Hello indie game fans, we are slowly getting back into the swing of things with regards to indie games, with some new games and ports of fantastic ones of interest in this edition of Indie Gaming this week. Let's begin with Moon Dancer, a pixel art arcade shoot 'em up that looks very classically made and of interest. I do like this genre as well, since I played a number of these growing up in arcades or on the Genesis, so any new indie game in this genre will at least make me give it a look, where one of the main features that the developer wants to highlight is the lock-on laser weapon. The scoring system encourages aggressive play and attacking enemies rather than avoiding bullets, so it should be one for fans of the genre. Deck is an example of why I love indie games so much, since this is a bullet hell arena shooter that is, curiously enough, mixed with a deck builder, allowing you to pause and play cards, but still having to control the action in real time. The art is very minimalist and simple, so it's not exactly its strong suit, with some concerns of readability due to the hectic action. I'm not sure if this is going to work at all, but it sure seems like a unique and novel idea which deserves a mention. I've seen this title being described as Tony Hawk Pro Driver, since Buck Up and Drive is an arcade racer that allows your car to do various tricks, including drifting, grinding on rails, and various flips that a car should not be able to do, but such is the insane beauty of video games. There's a 1v1 fighting mode as well, and fighting game style button presses to execute moves, looking like a fun little game. A long in development puzzle platformer is Neko Ghost Jump, one where the main mechanic is allowing you to switch between 2D and 3D, combining the classic Mario-style 2D side-scrolling platformer with good old 3D platforming action. There is a combat element as well, where you're able to transform into a ghost, which adds another element to the game, but do note that it will be releasing in early access, planned for about 6 months, with more levels, polish and balance to come. I do applaud indie developers for trying to make modern military first-person shooters in a world dominated by Call of Duty and Battlefield, and while there are a fair number of rubbish ones that look terrible, the same cannot be said for Black One Blood Brothers. What you might notice is the more deliberate pace of the action, where this is a tactical first-person shooter rather than your deathmatch style chump buckets, so you will be planning out your missions and coordinating and ordering AI characters around. In a world where Rainbow Six Siege is a multiplayer-focused entry, I think that this title might be of interest to fans of the older Rainbow Six games, giving us an alternative as indie games always do. Just one bigger game this week with the early access release of the Anacrusis, one that is set on board a massive starship and is a Left 4 Dead style 4-player co-op shooter. There has been somewhat of a renaissance in this genre in recent times with games like Back 4 Blood and GTFO, where this is from a technically independent team composed of industry veterans, but I do think that they have significant funding supporting them, which is why this gets an asterisk. We have quite a selection of ports this week, beginning with the Switch version of the insanely popular survival crafting game Astroneer. If you have not played this, it is one of the most ambitious open-world survival crafting titles that has you gathering resources, researching new technology, and constructing buildings and vehicles, making it a no-brainer for fans of the genre. And with this release, it will be out on all major modern platforms. Another excellent title that will also now be on all major modern platforms but going in a reverse direction is Battle Brothers, first releasing on Switch and will be on PlayStation and Xbox this week. This is an excellent strategy title where you manage your own mercenary company and explore an open world, being mechanically similar to Darkest Dungeon and very good as well, where for variety, I've used the trailer for the DLC Warriors of the North. To say that some people were disappointed by Super Meat Boy Forever when it launched in December 2020 is an understatement, since while it looks pretty nice and modern, the gameplay is quite a departure from the beloved original, turning it into an auto-runner of all things, and that it was an Epic Games Store exclusive did feel like a slap in the face, so it's finally coming out on Steam, so perhaps get it if you are curious. A wonderful little adventure game from a Japanese developer is The Kids We Were, one that is set in the 1980s, focusing on the summer adventure of our protagonist as he arrives in a small town searching for his missing father, being a wonderful title that you should check out. Let's kick off the top 5 with Berserk Mode, a roguelite first-person shooter that does look to be combining elements from recent retro first-person shooters like Project Warlock and Devil Daggers, where you play as the Berserker with the sole purpose of killing all monsters that stand in your way. It looks pretty neat, but it's an early access release, but will have a substantial amount of content at launch. I like my city builders as well, so of course, New Home Medieval Village is one that caught my eye, one where you zone entire areas and look similar to Referral in some ways. I like the medieval theme and the look of the game, but I am curious as to what this developer will do to make his game stand out. It does appear to be the work of a solo developer as well, which is impressive, so if you love the genre like me, do give it a look. If there's one reason why I think you should be interested in Quicker Flak, that would be the name of the developer alone, since Walter Machado, if you don't recognize the name, is the same guy that made the Uber Mosh series of top-down shooters, where this looks to be in a similar vein. The monochrome look, admittedly, might not appeal to some people, but the action does look amazing, where it self-describes as an experimental, fast-paced, time attack, top-down combat retro hardcore minigame that can be finished in a minute. So yeah, sign me up for this. One look at Rescue Party Live, and you should be able to tell what kind of game this is, since if it isn't obvious enough, this is a local multiplayer title that has to be taking inspiration from Overcooked, but with a different theme where you play as members of the emergency services. I do think that this is pretty cute looking, at least in the designs of the characters and the cutscenes, where I'll be interested to see how much variety there is with the mechanics and hazards. One of the best games from 2019 is Supraland, an open-world first-person Metroidvania where you play as a tiny character in a sandbox, where the scale of the real-life objects put into this game is pretty neat to see. The developers are back with Supraland 6 Inches Under, initially planned to be a tiny DLC for the original, but spun out into so much more, to the extent that the developers are considering it Supraland 1.5. The exploration, platforming, puzzles, and combat elements were great in the original, and I expect them to be in this as well, so it's something to whet your appetite while we wait for Supraland 2 taking the #1 spot. For more of the best of 2021, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.